Nobody warns you that the worst betrayal won't come from strangers. It comes from the people you welcomed into your family with open arms. Grandpa Ned had always prided himself on being the kind of man who didn't need much. At 73, he lived simply in his modest ranch house in Cedar Falls, the same home where he'd raised his son Marcus and where his late wife Helen had tended her legendary rose garden. The house was full of memories, worn but comfortable, just like Ned himself. When Marcus called that bright Tuesday morning in October, Ned was in his workshop, sanding down a wooden toy truck he was making for his grandson, little Ethan. The phone's shrill ring cut through the peaceful sound of his work. "Dad, great news," Marcus's voice boomed with enthusiasm. "We're all going to Aunt Linda's lake house for Thanksgiving weekend. The whole family, me, Jessica, Ethan, and you. Linda's even flying in from Seattle. It'll be the first time we're all together since Mom passed." Ned's throat tightened at the mention of Helen. 2 years gone, and sometimes it still felt like yesterday. "That sounds wonderful, son." "Jessica's handling all the arrangements," Marcus continued. "She's booking the rooms at that nice resort nearby since Linda's place only has 2 bedrooms. She'll sort everything out. You know how organized she is." Ned smiled. His daughter-in-law Jessica had always been efficient, perhaps a bit cool, but he'd attributed that to her corporate background. She was a marketing executive, always busy, always on her phone. "Tell her I said thank you. I'm looking forward to it." 3 weeks later, Ned packed his old leather suitcase with care. He folded his best cardigan sweater, the navy one Helen had given him on their last Christmas together. He packed his medication, his reading glasses, and the toy truck he'd finished for Ethan. The 4-hour drive to Lake Harmony would be long, but the thought of seeing his whole family made it worthwhile. He arrived at the Harmony Pines Resort just as the sun was beginning its descent, painting the lake in shades of amber and rose. The resort was beautiful, all glass and timber, modern but somehow rustic. Through the lobby windows, he could see the lake stretching out like a mirror. Ned approached the front desk, his suitcase in hand. "Hello, I'm Ned Crawford. I believe there's a reservation for me." The young clerk, her name tag reading Brittany, smiled and typed on her computer. Her smile faltered. She typed some more, her brow furrowing. "I'm sorry, sir. I'm not seeing a reservation under that name." "Try the family name, Marcus Crawford. His wife Jessica would have made the booking." Maury typing. "Oh yes, I see the Crawford reservation. There are 2 rooms booked, one for Marcus and Jessica Crawford and one for Linda Chen, but I'm not seeing a 3rd room, I'm afraid." The words hit Ned like a physical blow. He stood there, gripping the handle of his suitcase, trying to process what he was hearing. "There must be some mistake. Could you check again?" Brittany's professional sympathy was evident. "I've checked thoroughly, Mr. Crawford. I only show 2 rooms. And unfortunately, we're completely booked this weekend. There's a wedding party and a corporate retreat. I don't have a single room available." Ned's mind raced. Jessica had been handling the arrangements. Marcus had said so explicitly. This had to be an oversight, a technical glitch, something. "Could I use your phone? I need to call my son." In the quiet corner of the lobby, Ned dialed Marcus's number with shaking fingers. It rang 5 times before going to voicemail. "Marcus, it's Dad. I'm at the resort, but there seems to be a problem with my room. Call me back, please." He tried Jessica's number next, straight to voicemail. For the next hour, Ned sat in a lobby chair that was probably expensive but felt harder with each passing minute. He watched families come and go, watched the sky darken outside, watched Brittany glance at him with increasing concern. He called Marcus 4 more times. He called Jessica 3 times. Nothing. Finally, he called his niece Linda. "Uncle Ned." Her voice was warm and surprised. "Are you here already? We're at the house having drinks. I thought you weren't arriving until tomorrow." "Tomorrow, Linda, the reservation was for tonight. I'm at the resort now, but there's no room booked for me." A pause. "What? That can't be right. Hold on, let me ask." He heard muffled voices in the background. Then Linda came back, her voice tight with barely controlled anger. "Uncle Ned, Jessica says the reservation was always for tomorrow. She says she told you Friday, not Thursday. That's not true, Linda. Marcus called me 3 weeks ago. He said Thursday. Maury muffled conversation. Then Marcus's voice came on the line, slightly slurred. They'd been drinking. Dad, hey, yeah, so there's been a mix-up. The rooms are for tomorrow. You came a day early. Marcus, you told me Thursday. I wrote it down. I think you got confused, Dad. It happens. Listen, all the rooms here are full. Ethan's sleeping in the living room as it is. Can you just drive back home and come tomorrow? It's not that far. Ned looked out at the darkening sky. It was already 6:30. He'd driven 4 hours to get here, and he wasn't a young man anymore. The thought of another 4 hours on dark country roads made his chest tight. Son, I can't. I'm exhausted. Surely there's somewhere I can. We literally have no space, Dad. Jessica planned everything really precisely. If you come tomorrow like you were supposed to, it'll all work out fine. Something in Marcus's tone, dismissive, slightly annoyed, as if Ned were being difficult, sparked a rare flash of anger in the old man. Put Jessica on the phone. A long pause. She's busy with Ethan right now. Marcus, I need to speak with her. She made the bookings. Dad, I really think you just got the days mixed up. It's okay. These things happen at your age. Just head home and come back tomorrow. Problem solved. At your age, the words strung worse than the rest of it. I am not confused, Marcus. I wrote down Thursday. I confirmed it with you twice in the past 2 weeks. His son sighed, a sound of exasperation. Okay, well, I don't know what to tell you. We don't have room tonight. Figure something out and we'll see you tomorrow. And then, incredibly, Marcus hung up. Ned stared at the phone in his hand, feeling something fundamental shift inside him. His son, his only child, the boy he'd taught to ride a bike and helped through college and stood beside at his wedding, had just hung up on him. He called Linda back. Uncle Ned, I am so sorry, she said immediately. This is insane. Look, I'll come get you right now. You can sleep on the couch here. It's not ideal, but... No, Ned's voice was steady now, calm with a clarity he hadn't felt in years. Thank you, Linda, but no, I'm going to find a hotel somewhere. Even if I have to drive to the next town, I'll see you all tomorrow. Uncle Ned, please, this isn't right. Let me help. You're sweet, honey, but I need to think. He hung up and approached Brittany again. Is there another hotel nearby? She looked pained. The nearest hotel is about 40 minutes away in Riverside, but with the wedding here and the corporate event, most places in the area are booked. I can call around for you. Please. 20 minutes and 6 phone calls later, Brittany found him a room at a budget motel in Riverside. It was the kind of place that rented rooms by the hour as often as by the night, but it was shelter. I'm so sorry, Mr. Crawford, Brittany said softly. This shouldn't have happened to you. Thank you for your help, dear. As Ned walked back to his car, his phone suddenly exploded with life. In the span of 2 minutes, he received 7 calls and 15 text messages, all from Marcus and Jessica. The texts from Jessica ranged from defensive to aggressive. We told you Friday clearly. Why are you causing drama? You're making Marcus feel terrible. If you were confused, you should have confirmed. Marcus's messages were different. Dad, why did you tell Linda we abandoned you? You're making Jess look bad in front of the family. Come on, this isn't fair. Linda is really mad at us now. Ah, so that was it. Linda had said something. Now they were worried about how they looked. Ned didn't respond to any of the messages. He got in his car and made the 40-minute drive to the Riverside Motel, a squat building with a flickering neon sign and the faint smell of mildew. The room was clean enough, if worn. He sat on the edge of the bed, still holding his phone as it continued to buzz with increasing desperation. That night, Ned didn't sleep much. He lay in the darkness, listening to trucks rumble past on the highway and replaying everything in his mind. He thought about the past 3 years since Helen died, how Jessica had gradually stopped inviting him to Sunday dinners, how his time with Ethan had dwindled to brief, supervised visits, how Marcus had become increasingly distant, always busy with Jessica's schedule. He thought about the toy truck in his suitcase and realized with sudden clarity that Ethan probably had a closet full of expensive electronic toys that Jessica bought. A handmade wooden truck from Grandpa wouldn't compare. By morning, Ned had made his decision. He checked out of the motel and drove back to the resort. Linda was waiting for him in the lobby, and the hug she gave him was fierce. "I told them both off properly last night," she said. "Uncle Ned, I'm so sorry. I had no idea you weren't properly booked." "It's not your fault, sweetheart. It's Jessica's fault, and Marcus's for not standing up for you. They're in the dining room having breakfast. Come on." Ned found them at a large table overlooking the lake. Ethan was there, 7 years old and absorbed in a tablet. Jessica looked up as they approached, her expression carefully neutral. Marcus had the grace to look ashamed. "Dad," Marcus started, "listen about last night." Ned held up his hand. "I drove 8 hours yesterday, 4 to get here, 40 minutes to Riverside, 40 minutes back, and 4 hours home this morning." "Wait, home?" Marcus blinked. "You went home?" "No, Marcus. I spent the night in a motel that rents rooms by the hour because my daughter-in-law forgot to book me a room, and my son told me to figure it out myself." Jessica's face flushed. "I didn't forget. The reservation was always for Friday. You came early." Ned pulled a small notebook from his pocket, the one where Helen had always told him to write important things down. He opened it to a page and slid it across the table. There, in his careful handwriting, Lake House Trip, Thurs Nov 16 Sun Nov 19, Marcus called Oct 24. The silence at the table was deafening. "I'm not confused," Ned said quietly. "I'm not senile. I'm not having a senior moment. You made a mistake, Jessica, and instead of admitting it, you made it my fault." "Dad, come on," Marcus said weakly. "Can we just move past this? You're here now." "No, I'm not. I'm leaving." "What, Dad? Don't be ridiculous. You drove all this way." "I did, and last night, when I needed help from my family, I was told to figure it out myself. So I did. Now I'm going home." He turned to Ethan, who had finally looked up from his tablet. "Bye, buddy. Grandpa loves you." He handed the boy the wrapped toy truck. "I made this for you." As Ned walked away, he heard Jessica hiss at Marcus. "Are you just going to let him leave?" He didn't hear Marcus's response, but his son didn't follow him. Linda did. She walked him to his car and hugged him again. "You're doing the right thing, Uncle Ned. Don't doubt yourself." "I'm tired, Linda. I'm tired of trying to fit into a family that doesn't have room for me, literally or figuratively." The drive home was long but peaceful. Ned's phone buzzed a few times, then fell silent. When he got home, he made himself a cup of tea and sat in his workshop, surrounded by Helen's memory and his own hands' work. 3 days later, Marcus showed up at his door unannounced. "We need to talk," his son said. Ned let him in, but didn't offer coffee. "Dad, you embarrassed us in front of Linda, in front of the whole family." "I embarrassed you?" "Yes, walking out like that, making it seem like we don't care about you." "Marcus," Ned's voice was tired, "you hung up on me when I was stranded at a hotel. You told me to figure it out. You didn't offer to come get me, didn't offer to give up your room, didn't do anything except make me feel like I was being a burden. How exactly did I make it seem like you don't care, when that's precisely what you showed me?" "That's not fair. We were in a difficult position." "So was I, but I'm your father." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "Jessica says you're too sensitive, that you took it too personally." And there it was, the real problem laid bare. "Your wife forgot to book my room, Marcus. When confronted with her mistake, she lied and said I got the date wrong. She made me feel like I was losing my mind, and you believed her over me." "She wouldn't lie." "She did lie. I showed you my notebook." "Maybe you wrote it down wrong." Ned felt something final settle in his chest. "I think you should go." "Dad." "Go, Marcus. When you're ready to admit what really happened, when you're ready to stand up for your father, instead of making excuses for your wife's cruelty, you know where I am." Marcus left without another word. In the weeks that followed, Ned heard through Linda that the family trip had fallen apart shortly after he left. Linda had confronted Jessica directly, other family members had gotten involved, and the weekend had ended with considerable drama. He felt a twinge of regret about that, but not much. He'd spent too many years being accommodating, being easy, being the one who adjusted. That Thanksgiving, Ned volunteered at the local soup kitchen instead of sitting alone at home. He served turkey and stuffing to people who had even less than he did, and he felt more thankful than he had in years. Marcus didn't call on Thanksgiving. He didn't call on Christmas either. But in January, on what would have been Helen's birthday, there was a knock on Ned's door. He opened it to find Marcus standing there, alone, with tears in his eyes. "Dad," his son said, his voice breaking, "I'm so sorry. You were right about everything. Can we please talk?" Ned looked at the son who looked so much like himself at that age, saw the genuine remorse in his eyes, and after a long moment, stepped aside to let him in. Some betrayals can be forgiven, but neither of them would ever forget the night when Ned learned exactly where he stood in his own family's priorities and decided he deserved better.